Hello and welcome dear students to a series of grammar in use. In this video we are going to explore question tags. We will first understand what are question tags and we will also clarify certain errors and constructions. You would always be confused, you might have been confused regarding the use of isn't it, wouldn't we, haven't we, whether to use the positive construction or the negative construction. If the sentence has a negative construction already, should you use positive at the end or the negative at the end? We are going to discuss all in this video. So get a pen and notepad ready and let us dive into it. Now let us first understand what are question tags. Usually certain words that begin or form questions are known as question tags, but in this lesson certain specific constructions are known as question tags. In spoken English, small questions are often added to the end of the sentences. These are called question tags and they are most often used to invite someone to agree or disagree, etc. Now, let us take down the first pointer, that is question tags using the be form. What is the be form? Be is an auxiliary. The be forms are am, is, are, was, were, do, did, does, has, have, had. Now, when you are using the be form of the verb, what is the rule? Whether you should say isn't it or is it? What should you say? Let us first see what is the construction. The simplest question tags use the verb be with a pronoun matching the subject of the sentence. That means the question tag should match the subject of the sentence. The music is very loud. This is the statement. The music is very loud. So the question tag is isn't it? Do you say is it or isn't it? We will be exploring this in the coming part of the lesson. When you have the positive construction, your question tag can carry a negative. That means isn't it? So it is correct. Let us see certain examples based on it. You're cold, aren't you? You can see the statement was positive or affirmative. So the question tag is in negative. He was tall. You have to use the same auxiliary. Wasn't he? Now you can see the statement was positive or affirmative as per the grammar, and we use the same auxiliary and we use a negative with it. Wasn't he? Now there's a little change over here when you're using the first person. I am, the contraction I am late. The sentence is positive or affirmative, but with I, we do not say am I not or amn't I. That is incorrect. You can see for statements with I, aren't I is used in the negative question tag, not amn't I. There's nothing like amn't I. So I'm late, aren't I? I'm not talking too much. I'm not talking too much. Now the sentence is, the construction is in negative. Not is there. So in the question tag, you cannot bring not. I am not talking too much. Am I? You have to use a positive question tag. So this tip you should remember: when your statement is negative, your question tag is positive. When your when your statement is positive, your question tag is negative with a not. Requesting you to pause the video and construct sentences. Let us proceed. Now let us see how this structure is formed or how to frame such kind of sentences with question tags. The tip is the question tags are mostly used in informal situations. That means when you're talking to your friends, etc., only then you use such question tags. Otherwise, when you are in a formal gathering or formal conversation, you do not use this end negative questions or positive questions. You do not use question tags at all. You use a formally constructed question. Now, how to form? A positive statement is followed by a negative question. We have seen that a positive statement or an affirmative statement is followed by a negative question, and a negative statement is followed by a positive question tag. A negative statement, that is, this is negative, not is present there, it is followed by a positive question tag. So this is positive, these two, this is positive, and the question tag is negative. Verb is positive, is. Question tag is negative, isn't, is not, isn't. Here, negative statement, why? Because is not or isn't is negative. The verb is negative. And question tag is in the positive form, is it. I hope this is clear enough that you will remember how to frame. Now the next pointer is very interesting. Kindly take down each of these rules. It will definitely surprise you, and all the confusion that you have had earlier would be gone. Now the question tags using auxiliary verbs. Auxiliary I have already mentioned. The auxiliaries are just am, is, are, was, were, was, is, are, was, were, has, have, had, do, did, does, and you need to use those clearly and construct the question tag also according to the rules. Now what are those rules? Let us see the first rule. For most verbs other than be, a present simple statement is followed by a question tag with do or does. That means in your statement, if you have used a verb which is in simple present, then the question tag will have either do or does depending on the subject that you're using. Mel plays the violin. Doesn't she? Now, why did I use does? Why not do? Why not did? Because my tense is simple present and Mel is the third person. With third person does goes. So, doesn't she? My sentence, my statement is positive. So, I can use a negative over here. Doesn't she? The next rule implies that a past simple statement, that means if you use simple past tense in your statement, it is followed by a question tag with did. Let us see one example. John studied art. This is simple past tense or past simple. Studied. So as per the rule, what will it take? It will take did. Now the statement is positive, so I can use a negative question tag over here. Didn't he? As per the rule, a past tense, simple past tense, will take did with the question tag, and if the statement is positive, you can use negative in the question tag. So didn't he is the question tag. The next rule implies that a statement with an auxiliary verb is followed by a question tag with the same auxiliary verb. Now, it means that if you have an auxiliary like have, has, had, etc. in your statement, then the question tag will also have the same auxiliary. And our rule remains the same. If your statement is negative, as it is over here, then your question tag should be positive. So now let us look at the example that we have before us. You haven't seen my keys. You haven't seen my keys. Haven't is auxiliary verb and it is in the negative form. The main verb is seen. It describes the action. So you haven't seen my keys. According to this, the question tag should be have. And because this is negative, my question tag should be positive. Have you? The subject, it remains with the subject. You haven't seen my keys, have you? The question tag uses the same auxiliary verb as used earlier. The similar rule is carried out with modals. Modals are words that set tone to the sentence. For example, can, should, would, must, etc. Statements with modals such as could, would, and should are followed by question tags that use the same modal verb. For example, Tim should be here by now. Should is the modal. Now, should can be used in the question tag, and since our statement is positive, so we can use it in the negative form over here. Shouldn't he? Tim should be here by now, shouldn't he? I hope this clarifies all your doubts whether should you use doesn't he or doesn't she or does she, didn't he or did he, haven't you or have you, shouldn't he or should he. The rule is very simple. If the statement is positive, the question tag is negative. If the question tag is in simple present tense, it takes the question tag doesn't. If it is in simple past, it takes didn't, did or didn't. If it is have is used, then you may, if the auxiliary is used, you have to use the same auxiliary and the rule remains the same, negative and positive or positive and negative. If modals are used, the rule remains the same. That is, if positive is used, use the negative of that modal. If negative is used, use the positive of that modal. Now the intonation. Intonation is not in writing. Intonation comes only when we are talking. That means the rise of the voice or the fall of the voice. The rise of the voice or the fall of the voice is the way we end the sentence or the question. Let us see if the intonation goes up at the end of the question. Wouldn't you like to move offices? Would would like to move offices? Wouldn't you? The way I spoke, my tone, my voice went slightly up. Wouldn't you? This is called rising intonation. If the intonation goes up at the end of the question tag, it is a question requiring an answer. That means I'm asking whether or not you would like to move offices. So I'm inviting an answer. If the intonation goes down, you have already met Evelyn, haven't you? Now my voice more or less dropped down. The intonation was down. It means that I already know and you have met Evelyn and I'm not just I'm wanting the person to agree with me. If the intonation goes down at the end of the question tag, the speaker is just inviting the listener to agree. So if the intonation goes up, it is for inviting an answer. If the intonation goes down, then it is just expecting an agreement. With this, we have come to the end of this interesting lesson. If you liked it, kindly click on like, share and subscribe. And thank you very much for your kind attention.